Welcome to the Vertical Go-to-Market Podcast. We will discover new opportunities to grow your business from 7 figures to 8 from the world's most successful agency and SaaS executives. I'm your host, Corey Quinn. Today, I'm joined by Carman Pirie. Welcome, Carmen.
Thanks so much, Corey. It's great to be on the show.
Can you please introduce yourself to those listeners who may not be familiar with you and your background?
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that's probably all listeners. My name's Carman Pirie. I'm a co-owner of an agency called Kula Partners, and we specialize in maximizing revenue potential for B2B manufacturers. So we help our clients sell within niche markets and mostly technical markets, frankly, and take a more targeted account-based approach to growing revenue within those niche markets. So we're an agency, a marketing agency that's just squarely focused on working with B2B manufacturers. So that's a little bit about the agency.
Can you share a little bit about the types of customers specifically that you work with? Maybe give the listeners a sense for a typical customer that you may be working with?
It's interesting because we do say, of course, you think about B2B manufacturing, and that's a fairly, for a lot of people, I think a lot of agency owners, that would seem incredibly niche. I would suggest to you it's really quite broad. We work with, for instance, everything from contract manufacturers in the electronic space or even in the heavy machining industrial space through to flexible packaging manufacturers, even skincare supplement brands. So a lot of kind of different facets of B2B manufacturing marketing, but every one of our clients is really a manufacturer that pretty much sells to other manufacturers, at the very least other businesses.
And so you're helping your customers to attract more customers, obviously, for their business, and those are typically other businesses.
Always other businesses.
Okay, yeah. Got it. All right.
And most often other manufacturers, which almost seems like the kind of a Russian doll almost,
Yeah, right.
They're selling to other manufacturers. But.
For context for the listeners, what can you share about maybe the size of your agency, the number of clients you have, revenue, number of employees, whatever you're comfortable with sharing?
We're a pretty private bunch when it comes to revenue and those kinds of things. But, we're a small team. We're at like 16 people or so. Mm-hmm. So we probably have more clients than we ought to in some ways. I mean, it's like I say that to people knowing that the audience are probably agency owners. And okay, you have a kind of a long list. We've been around for a long while, since 2004. So, there's legacy clients that maybe still get hosting from us or something like that, mm-hmm. of course. But where the rubber really meets the road, we try to work with somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 clients at any given time, sometimes a little bit more. So 16 people or so, and like I said, pretty squarely focused on B2B manufacturers.
What is your role there as co-founder, principal? What does your day-to-day look like?
Man, we can't disclose that. Then everybody that works here will know how little I do. Look, I say this, Corey, quite honestly. My job is to work myself out of jobs, and I'm pretty good at doing that. So I try to. My only real, if I were giving my job to somebody else and I had to tell them what it is, well, I do lead the sales conversations when those are happening. Now, we do not bring on a new client every week by any stretch of the imagination. So it's not like there's 50 sales conversations on the go at any one time. But that is the side of the business that I still lead. And I oversee the strategy delivery within the business. But in no way do I want to make it sound as though I am toiling away at doing the hard work, because there are people much smarter than I working with me to do that.
That's great. It's always good as a leader to be surrounded by really, really smart, hardworking, ambitious folks.
Yeah, it is good. And it's even better if you realize that and then get out of their way.
That's right. Can you share with us a little bit of the story behind your unique brand name, Kula Partners?
Yeah, sure. I became aware back in the kind of the early days, what seemed like the web 2.0 days, when people actually talked about blogging like it was a thing, and you had blogs writing about blogging, right? Like,
Yeah.
and at that time, one of the kind of early voices, I would say, was Hugh MacLeod, gapingvoid.com. And he kind of got famous for drawing cartoons on the back of business cards. And when I say famous, I really just mean Web 2.0 internet famous at that time. He did illustrate one of Seth Godin's books, so that's a pretty big deal, I suppose. And Hugh talked a fair bit about this notion of social objects, and that a lot of what was happening in the world of marketing was the creation of social objects that were not in and of them. The thing that was being created in and of itself wasn't particularly meaningful. What was important was that it brought people together. And the analogy that was being used at the time was the Kula ring, which is a tribal trading ring in Papua New Guinea that's been around for, it's been studied for a very long time. And they basically trade. The tribes in Papua New Guinea would trade pieces of kula, which are basically necklaces and bracelets made of seashells, typically. And there's these elaborate trading ceremonies as one tribe meets another, where the pieces of kula are exchanged. And the pieces of kula themselves are not particularly valuable, and they don't really serve a purpose other than the connection of one part of one tribe to another, or one island to another. And so that parallel, I think, exists a lot in our world of marketing. It's like, is the podcast that we're recording today particularly meaningful? I would say no. What's meaningful is that if it brings people together, it gives them some ideas. That's the power. That's the meaning. So that's where Kula Partners came from as a name.
That's awesome. You're bringing me back to my college days, interestingly, where I studied at University of California, Santa Cruz, where I majored in cultural anthropology. And
so you know the Kula ring very well.
I've heard of the Kula ring, and I did a whole class on Papua New Guinea. It's a fascinating culture that throughout the ages, a really interesting place. So thank you for sharing that.
No, not at all.
So has Kula Partners always been focused on the manufacturing vertical, or were you a generalist maybe at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. We were very generalist. I mean, we're located in Halifax, Nova Scotia, way over on the east coast of Canada. And it's funny, when talking with most of the folks, most of our clients are Americans. And, when you have to explain to them that you're east of Maine, it makes it kind of, it puts it into some context.
Makes your head spin. Like, east,
how do you I didn't know there was anything east of Maine, When we first started, probably like an awful lot of agencies, there was just a small number of us, and doing local work, primarily digital, for sure. Kind of the building of websites has always kind of been at a core capability of the firm, for sure. But digitally enabled marketing strategy, et cetera. And this was way back in the day. So. And then, over time, we were Canada's first Platinum Hubspot Partner.
Great.
And so that was very early days to that notion of inbound marketing, and, people didn't even know what that meant. And, it's hard to imagine that even now, I suppose. So that was a foray for us into working with clients that were not local. And that was really a gateway for us. We began to sell and work with clients really globally. And it was from there that we eventually made the decision to narrow our focus and work exclusively with B2B manufacturers.
What were some of the things that were happening in the business, some of the factors at that time that led you to realize that you wanted to narrow the focus?
Well, quite candidly, there was a time when being a HubSpot agency was somewhat unique. And then there was a time when every agency on the planet is a HubSpot agency, and it really didn't matter, right? And so you begin to, I think as an agency owner, you begin to see that in your lead flow. You begin to see that in your sales. As a horizontal positioning, we really just didn't see that having a long life, or one that was particularly expansive for us. It's like our niche, if you will, within the HubSpot ecosystem was that, we were technically very capable, like we more so than the average inbound marketing agency. We could build stuff that other people couldn't build, integrate things that other people couldn't imagine. But that wasn't looking like it was going to be a source of distinction for very long, if you will. So we just started kind of step back and looked at the business and said, all right, well, what are our options? And really tried to put everything on the table rather than make minor tweaks. We were pretty open to just exploring what could be. And that's when we made a decision to shift from a horizontal focus to really a vertical focus.
And just to feed this back to you, you shared that at that time you were a HubSpot certified agency, and that was a somewhat unique differentiator. And as that began to evolve and that became less unique, you saw in the business, you mentioned lead flow. Did lead flow slow down, or was it more that you were competing against other agencies who the customers or the potential customers felt that you guys were at parity with?
If I was to get too specific, I think I would be lying about my own memory. I don't know that I remember it with that degree of clarity. I think just generally over time, it's not that lead flow dries up, but it's more like you start noticing that lead flow dynamic is changing. People don't, as the HubSpot ecosystem got larger and larger, the requirement to go to hire a firm from further away became maybe less and less attractive. And we're based in a very small area of Canada, and we have no interest in working exclusively with local companies. It's not that big of a market. So in order to fuel that ambition, we needed to look at how can we resonate with a market in a greater way, really.
And when you realized that you wanted to go more vertical, get more specific, what was that process like? And how did you end up with manufacturing?
Well, I think it's certainly, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that David C. Baker, we worked with him on our positioning. David is an agency consultant based out of Tennessee. He wrote the Business of Expertise, along with a few other books, and actually just recently released a new book, which I think is something like The Expert Tradecraft or something of experts or something like that. I'm pretty sure I got that title wrong, but The Business of Expertise, I think, would be a useful book for those who haven't heard of it and are listening to this podcast, because, of course, it has chapters outlining the pros and cons of horizontal versus vertical positionings for basically professional services firms. And so we worked with David to kind of talk through and really just understand the various dynamics of that. Get that, frankly, the same thing that we look for from that I think our clients look for from us. They want the person that can read the label on the outside of the jar that isn't in the business every day to give them that outside advice. And that's exactly what we were seeking from David, is that sounding board and that bit of clarity. I admit I went into that exercise with an incredible predisposition towards vertical orientation in our positioning. And it was because everything that I had read and understood about positioning within professional services firms led me to believe that a lot of the toughest nuts to crack, i.e. lead flow and sales, I think most any agency owner would say that they are better at doing the work than they are at getting the work. And if I think almost any agency owner would love to flip that. And my impression of it at the time was the greatest hope you have of flipping that is a vertical positioning. Basically, it makes finding prospects easier, and it increases your resonance with them. So that's was the starting point for that exploration. And honestly, I wish there was more science to how we selected manufacturing, but there really wasn't. we just kind of stepped back and looked at the clients that we worked with, those that we thought we did really good work for, the ones that we seemed to enjoy working with. And the manufacturers that were on our client roster seemed to surface a lot to the top of those lists as we kind of talk it through. And then there's something that we kind of like about manufacturing just as people, which is to say that, nobody ever talks about I always say, nobody talks about a one accounting firm town. But they talk about a one company town, like a one manufacturer can make a community. Mm-hmm. There's an interesting connection between the things we make and who we are and our communities and even our identities, our national identities and things of that nature. There's an interesting interplay that manufacturing has there that I think other segments of the economy or other kind of areas that we could have chose to focus on maybe don't deliver in the same way. And, quite honestly, my business partner and I think we just kind of like that about manufacturing. We like that kind of community aspect of it, not to overplay it, but.
No, I think that it's interesting in these types of conversations on this podcast and elsewhere, there's a pattern forming for me in that the companies who are very successful in serving a vertical, there is a lot of sort of business case for it, but there's also at some level a personal connection with that agency.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I suppose that. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that must help keep them interested.
That's right, and for the long run, exactly.
Yeah. I'd say that. That would certainly play a part.
As you were transitioning your focus from a generalist to specifically these manufacturing companies, of which it sounds like you had a couple of these clients, how did you manage that transition? Did you just fire all your non-manufacturing clients, or how did that transition work?
All of the things that people think are probably really well planned that aren't. This is what I'll tell you what we did. I haven't actually thought about it, to be honest, in this way, or tried to summarize it, but I'll do my best. We basically changed our website completely, changed our entire kind of outward look. I mean, it's our only, that's our window to the world is our website.
Mm-hmm. And your business card.
And business card and all that. So we changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we changed the focus of the people who we were trying to sell to and prospect into. And we kept working with everybody that we were working with. And as we brought on new clients, because we were now prospecting into the space we wanted to work in, those new clients tended to be manufacturers. And rather than just keep adding capacity, we would then kind of slowly exit your non-manufacturing clients. And so over the course of 2 to 3 years, at one point you kind of look in the rearview mirror and say, oh, wow, we don't have any other clients anymore. They're all manufacturers now. But it's, I would encourage people, I think that's one of the fears that people have in selecting a vertical focus is they think, oh man, I'm going to have to fire all these other clients. And you don't. And if you think those clients are spending all of their time going to your website to see how you're talking about yourself, man, they probably don't even, they may not even find out. They may not even, not that you're trying to hide it, but they don't care about you as much as you think. And it's interesting because we had a couple, the one client in particular that we had a real strong personal connection with, but they're not a manufacturer at all. They sell wine, to be honest, and they sell wine online. And I've always enjoyed the business of selling wine. It's a category I personally know pretty well, and I found the act of marketing it to be quite fun. And we have a great personal friendship with the person that runs that business. They're still a client today. And I don't think they would care if we said we were focusing on manufacturing or anything. It wouldn't matter. So I would encourage people listening to this that are looking at a focus and they already have an existing client base. You can have your cake and eat it too. It's one of the odd times when you actually can.
In the early days of focusing on manufacturing, you changed your website, you changed the outer sort of facing aspects of your brand. What did you do in the early days to build momentum in manufacturing?
Most importantly is change the focus of our prospecting. But beyond that, we, of course, the focus of our marketing as well shifted. So, for instance, we started the Kula Ring podcast not long after that. It's probably a little ways after that at least, but that I think helped really integrate us more into that community, and it's been really cool to be a voice of that community too. And we host, there's a number of other kind of marketing initiatives that we undertake through the year that we just kind of turned their focus onto manufacturers. And I guess that's how we did it to build momentum. And I think in combination with that, as you're working more and more and more within your chosen vertical, then your eyes wide open to the patterns that you begin to see, and then your expertise deepens. And when I say your expertise, I mean the expertise of the firm and everybody in it. You begin to see problems that other people don't see, and eventually live into that positioning, I think, even more strongly.
Is being a specialist in the manufacturing industry or vertical, does that matter to your manufacturing buyers?
Yeah, absolutely. It's why they come to us.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there are so many kind of unique characteristics to marketing and selling within the B2B manufacturing space. The dynamics around the sales cycles, the buying journey nuances. There's if you're not an agency focused in that space, in some ways you don't even know it. Like I think of one customer. I'm thinking of one example where I was in a conversation with a person who I really respect. They're a long-serving agency strategist, and they're a strategist, or had been a strategist with one of the most successful top-tier advertising agencies in Canada. And they were working with a manufacturer. And they had detailed a buyer's journey, and it had 4 stages. And when we looked at kind of the standard framework for that same journey, ours has 13. And it was in that moment where I'm like, it's not that this person is dumb. It's not that they don't get it. It's not that they're not a smart marketer, but they just haven't been working in this very narrow sliver of a space as long as we have, and therefore they don't see the complexity we see. And I think the clients that select us, they select us because that's the insight they want. Often they've been frustrated with a generalist agency and frustrated trying to explain the nuance of their problem to an agency that maybe would rather be working on a Nike or an Apple. And that's when they call us.
Reminds me of a quote of another anthropologist. This one is famous. His name is Gregory Bateson. And he said, it's the difference that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Would you say that manufacturing, the industry, has an insider language?
I think any industry does, and I think even like subsets within manufacturing certainly would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's rather important for your business to be able to speak that language.
Yeah, clients are smart people. They can smell a fake a mile away. And you know, I think that's where that comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's hard to keep confidence in a consulting-based relationship if you don't know their world.
How do you attract new manufacturing customers today?
We have a variety of kind of marketing channels, I suppose, that we spend some attention on. Our probably our largest area of kind of lead flow. I say that it's funny because sometimes I wonder, but certainly the podcast is a source of that. I think manufacturers often will learn of us through that channel. It's sometimes surprising when you're into a sales conversation, and then the person discloses that they've been listening to your voice for a year. That's an interesting moment. So that does happen, and we're pretty good at this digital marketing business, Corey. What can I tell you? Like we know how to get ourselves in front of people that are searching for vertically oriented firms, and from there we're not bad at selling.
That's great. So you drink your own Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I mean,
smart.
Pretty silly. It's funny. I used to work for an advertising agency, of course, and advertising agencies never do ads for themselves, and they always kind of shake your head, which I think is an easy kind of sucker punch to deliver to an ad agency. But we do, for instance, we do an awful lot of pay-per-click advertising for clients. It's also, surprising number of leads show up for us that way. Just as an example.
You mentioned your podcast, The Kula Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Could you share with us about what that podcast is all about?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. We looked out at the landscape several years ago, and there was really most of the conversations around B2B marketing were mostly oriented around SaaS. And I don't have anything against SaaS, don't get me wrong, but it's the game that's being played to market SaaS is fundamentally different than B2B manufacturing. B2B SaaS is not B2B manufacturing. The sales, everything about it's different. So we thought, it'd be really interesting to shine a light on the marketers that are working in this space and just try to tell their stories and give them exposure, so that because sometimes I think manufacturing people, there's some really, really smart marketers in manufacturing, and I don't know that they get the credit they deserve. So it was really about shining a light on that talent, and that's it's been a cool ride. It's funny because the kind of added little side benefit is that I think we learn an awful lot as podcast hosts. It gives us occasion to be talking to a really smart marketer every week that is in a new business that we hadn't heard about, or if we did hear about it, we didn't hear about it that intimately. So it's a really nice little side benefit for the firm as well, I think.
Have you joined any associations, or do you go to conferences as a part of your sort of marketing program?
Man, we've been really bad at that. I say that I've gone to a couple of conferences, and look, trade shows and conferences work great for our clients in a variety of verticals. It can be a wonderful thing. It's not been a way that I have personally prospected for business for Kula, and it's not something that we rely on as a firm for ourselves. But we have an awful lot of experience of helping our clients drive more success through trade shows. So it's an odd little juxtaposition, because it's like, it's something we work in every day, but that's one thing that we just don't spend a lot of time doing ourselves. There really isn't a lot of there are a lot of marketing conferences out there, but there aren't a lot of marketing conferences squarely focused on manufacturing. And most manufacturing conferences have nothing to do with marketing. Okay, I won't call out the trade show, because that would be nasty to do on the podcast. But I will say I went to one trade show in Chicago once, and that was very focused on manufacturers, with the idea that we might be able to spark up some conversations. And the opening keynote for this conference was basically, I would say, about 70% focused on tearing apart anybody that was at the conference to try to sell them something. And so they put up their contact information and like had like a faux email for anybody that was actually trying to sell them. Like it was a whole shtick. So it was like supplier hostile, and that was probably enough to sour me on the concept in some ways. But
enough is enough. What are the positive aspects of verticalizing a business in general?
Well, you mentioned conferences as an example. Well, you can only do that with a vertical orientation, right? If you're a horizontally positioned firm, it's very, very hard for you to wrap your arms around who are the people that could buy from you. Maybe the other way to think about it is, how do you define who can't buy from you? Because I think one of the key benefits of vertical positioning is that it helps you define who you can sell to, and it helps you say to them who you're for and who you're not for. If you go to the Kula Partners page, kulapartners.com, and click on who we work for, and we're very detailed about the type of businesses that we work with. So if you show up and if that doesn't look like you, chances are you don't call us.
Right. And you don't waste their time and your time realizing that on the phone.
It's funny. I don't want to give up too much of David's secret sauce here, but David Baker would say this about that. He would say that marketing agencies, entrepreneurs and marketing agency entrepreneurs in particular, are terrible at saying no to opportunity. They will say yes to almost anything. And we'll take the money in front of them every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So his counsel is, have a page on your website that defines who you work for. And be open about that, because that will lead those prospects that don't fit that to opt out and not talk to you, because you will not have the discipline to say no to them. So the best thing for you to do is to make it so that they don't call you.
In other words, don't buy cookies and bring them home if you are trying to diet.
Yeah. It's interesting that I would tell people that if you're an agency and you're thinking about a vertical positioning, and you're like, man, that sounds really scary to be that specific on our website about who we work for. We still get calls on the regular from people who do not match that description that say, will you work with us? So you think you're turning your back on a whole bunch of opportunity. You are not. But beyond that, the real benefit, of course, as you mentioned, Corey, is when somebody reads that and they say, oh, that's me. Well, all of a sudden that conversation is starting in a better place.
What are the negatives to verticalizing a business?
I haven't found them, but I think I think I can define maybe what somebody else would say. Because I think probably the one negative that some marketers would find is that they would say, I like the variety. There are a lot of marketers out there that really get off on the idea of variety. And I appreciate that, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying I don't suffer from that. I don't sit. I think that David would say that people should work hard at trying to have very interesting personal lives, so they don't try to get all of the interest and variety out of their work life. And I think that there's some wisdom in what he says there. But beyond that, I also find that every time we work with a new manufacturer, I'm peeling another layer of an endless onion. And it's always interesting to me, and it's amazing to me to find out how stuff is made and to kind of unpack. We had one client that made sensors, And one line of sensors they made, the only job of those sensors was to say whether or not the other sensors are working, which I find that hilarious and fascinating. Others may find it boring. So if you find something like that boring, if you want all of your variety from your work life, well, then I think a vertical positioning might be a challenge for you.
That goes back to the comment you made earlier about just having a natural affinity or curiosity about the nature of manufacturing in a local town, sort of that being that one company town. So having that natural curiosity, I think in this context makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think curiosity, if there's two great things that a marketer ought to have, it's a good blend of curiosity and ignorance, probably.
So 2 more quick questions here for you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. The first one is, what would you say to someone who is listening to us and thinking about focusing their business on one or a few verticals?
Well, I think different businesses have different dynamics around that, and I can probably, I can speak most intelligently about it through the lens of B2B manufacturers or agencies. One segment that I advise and one segment that I live. So I think, I would say twofold. I think you need to look at what are those areas where you really deliver impact and in combination with impact actually have an interest in it. So that's one box that you need to check. But over on the other box is you need to make sure there's a market there. So I think one of the things that people can maybe get a little too excited as they start down that path, and they maybe don't step back and say, maybe I should go out and, based upon the ideal client profile that I've defined for myself based upon this new positioning, maybe I should go out and maybe try to generate a target account list. And then see how many competitors are also trying to serve that exact same target account list. And there's a sweet spot there, I think, to where you know that there's enough of a market, and you also know that your competitive situation is favorable enough. And so I think it's like almost like the frosted mini wheat. You got to have the frosted side. You got to be excited about the vertical. You got to have that level of excitement, but flip that mini wheat around, go to the, be a bit more hard nosed with yourself and say, yeah, okay, I might like it, but is there a viable business there or not?
My mom has a great saying, which is that climbing the ladder of success, you want to make sure the ladder is leaning against the right building.
Exactly right.
Because you don't want to get to the top and realize,
yeah,
you climb the wrong building. Last question for you, Carmen. What's your motivation?
Wow, I wish I knew that answer to that question. That's a really great question, Corey. These are the questions people ought to have really nice, quippy answers to, Increasingly, actually, as I've progressed over the years, I think my motivation is mostly in seeing the growth in others. I find it really, it's one thing to have a vision for an agency, and it's one thing to know who you want to serve, and it's one thing to be passionate about it, and whatever. It's another thing to kind of give that vision over to a team of people and then see them flourish in ways that you couldn't imagine and succeed and deliver on that vision in ways that you couldn't do yourself. And if a whole bunch of things piled up and made it so that I didn't want to come to work in the morning, that doesn't happen to me very often, if at all. But if it did, that would be the one thing I think that would keep me coming back. So I guess
great.
that's probably the motivation.
No, it's beautiful. Where can people reach out to you if they want to continue the conversation or want to just reach out and say hi?
Well, look, if you want to reach out and say hi, the best way to do that is Carman, Carmen at kulapartners.com. The only Carmen practically on the planet spelled with 2 A's and not an E. So it's pretty easy to remember, I suppose. And then, so email me. I'm available on LinkedIn and such as well. And the one thing I will say about my parents is they gave me a very unique name. So at the very least, you won't find a second one, most likely.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining, Carmen.
Corey, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for inspiring some thoughts with these questions. You've got me thinking.
That's great. It's been such a treat, and I've learned so much from you, and I'm sure the listeners have gotten a ton of value as well. So thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, folks, that's it for today. I'm Corey Quinn, and I hope you join me again next time for the Vertical Go-to-Market Podcast. If you receive value from this show, I would love a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Thanks, and we'll see you at the next one.